Not even here. I'm invisible right now.
Good evening. Welcome to the 2015 State Center Community College Muro de Honor induction ceremony. Tonight, we honor 3 outstanding inductees in this beautiful Arte Americas, Casa de la Cultura. If we can give them a round of applause. As you hear about the recipients, you will understand why they were selected, as they have gone above and beyond to make a difference in our gente. In years past, this event has been 100% joyful and completely celebratory. But I would be remiss if I didn't share that we are all saddened that one of our recipients cannot be with us this evening. The State Center Community College District suffered a tremendous loss in the passing of Fresno City College President Tony Cantu. But if you knew Tony, he would want us to celebrate this event and be joyful in this event. And I feel that he's with us in spirit. Now at this point, I would like to call up to the stage Frank Delgado, who is the Executive Director here at Arte Americas.
Welcome everybody, and once again, very, very proud to have everybody here because I know this is, we are proud to be a participant and a partner in this Muro de Honor because we have thousands and thousands and thousands of people that come through here. We just had 4,000 come through here Sunday for Dia de los Muertos. We have a lot of students from all ages, including many who are part of the State Center Community College District. There's students there. In fact, we have one of the students from Reedley's participating in this show right now, young Latino. So this is very, very special to us. And as mentioned before, it was a huge loss to Arte Americas as well, with the passing of Dr. Cantu, because he was on our board of directors here at Arte Americas at his passing, and a great partner here of Arte Americas. And it's fitting, since Tony would want this to be celebratory, that we are holding this during the season of Dia de los Muertos, where we do think about and talk about and remember the people who made such an impact in our lives, and we remember them with joy and love. And so instead of a moment of silence, I would like us all four, Mr. Cantu, to put our hands together, para que se oye, as they say. Thank you all for being here.
Very good evening to everybody. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here representing the Latino Faculty and Staff Association of Fresno City College. My name is Matt Espinosa Watson. I'm an instructor in Chicano Studies there at Fresno City. And I mentioned that right up front also to say that as part of what I do in Chicano Studies, I'm very, very acutely aware of the fact that my job wouldn't exist without community support and advocacy that created a position in the late 1960s in this area, right? And so for me, at least, looking at this type of event, the Muro de Honor, where we're honoring those who have really gone above and beyond in terms of their commitment to our students, I just think it fits right in there. It's something that, again, I'm very, very proud to be a part of. What I'd like to just share briefly is the Latino Faculty and Staff Association at Fresno City College. We are an association that is really dedicated to our students. And our main objective as an association is really to support our students. We do that through scholarships. Just this past year, I believe we gave out 12 different scholarships to different students. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the opportunity.
I have the honor of extending our sincerest congratulations on behalf of the Board of Trustees for this year's inductees to the Muro de Honor. Tonight, on behalf of the board at State Center Community College District, I want to congratulate tonight's honorees, Pilar de la Cruz Reyes, Adelpha Lorenzano, and the late Tony Cantu, who left an incredible legacy for the Latino community. Thank you.
I don't have my reading glasses, so I hope I can, I have big print though, so maybe it'll work. I'd like to welcome you to the 5th annual Muro de Honor. This award was established to recognize the contributions of dedicated and outstanding Chicano, Latino Americans associated with the State Center Community College District, and it's one of the finest things that we do. Tonight we celebrate the accomplishments of 3 outstanding individuals, Pilar de la Cruz Reyes, Adelphia Lorenzano, and the late, great Tony Cantu. We lost Tony last spring much too soon, and it is sad that he is not with us any longer to accept this very deserving award. However, we're deeply honored that some of his family members are here. Tony was a wonderful man. He was a great professional to work with. He did many wonderful things for the students of our college, and he left a deep hole when he left. But we do celebrate his many accomplishments, and we celebrate his life. He was a fine, fine man.
She's an inspiration to the family, and of course me. She's a go-getter. She's very outgoing, a very happy person. I'm very proud of her also. And with this thing that's happening right now to her, I could cry. I could cry right now because I'm so happy for her. I had told her that one day her day was gonna come, and here it is. I'm proud of my baby girl.
I am Sandra Caldwell. I'm president of Reedley College, which is at Reedley, Madera, and Oakhurst. And Adelpha is our faculty coordinator for the Reedley Middle College High School.
I work at Reedley College, and I've been there since 1994. I started as a student worker, and in my current role, I am the coordinator for Reedley Middle College High School. I serve as the liaison for Reedley College and Kings Canyon Unified School District. And the goal of our high school is to allow students the opportunity to pursue higher education beginning at the 9th grade.
Adelpha jumped into this, As the first coordinator establishing the Middle College High School, we'll have our first graduating class this year.
My name is Gerard Lorenzano. I am married to Adelpha Lorenzano, who's been a recipient for the Muro de Honor Award for Arte Americas. And my wife is a very passionate woman. She's devoted her whole entire life to teaching kids, to encourage them, to give them the motivation, to give them the mentorship that some and many lack.
She has worked and developed this all along, really flying by the seat of her pants almost, because it was new. How were we going to do this? What was it going to look like? This is a specific middle college high school with its emphasis on agriculture and business pathways.
Middle college high schools aim at focusing on at-risk students, meaning students who have high potential but maybe are not aware of what they can become later on in life. So we are the ones that encourage them and help them and provide student services so that they may achieve a higher education.
Students that are targeted in the middle college high school, and this is where Adelpha, who herself is a Reedley College graduate and really knows what the student experience is like, she really knows that we have to target students that are at risk in the first place in the high schools.
A lot of them get frustrated. A lot of them feel that the world's closing up on them. There's so many things to pick from, and they get lost in what they're looking for. And my wife has that ability to speak to these kids, and they relate, and that's something that's very hard to find, because you can get people that can that's part of their job. But when you have a passion for it, you speak completely different. You can actually relate to the kids, and they feel that. Someone can tell when someone is actually giving a part of them.
So Adelpha is she's extremely committed to the ability to help others fulfill their life dreams. And in that respect, I said she's very intense, but even more so, she's deeply compassionate and caring about the work that we do and the students that we serve. That's Adelpha.
So when I was in high school, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. I just knew I was going to go to college, didn't know how to get to college. And my father, who was a Vietnam veteran, said to me, "How you're going to go to Reedley College, or Kings River Community College at the time. So you're going to start there and then you're going to move forward." Because my father, when he came back from Vietnam, went through Reedley College's automotive program and earned his certificate there in the early 70s.
But we're lucky in the Central Valley to have people like Adelpha who believe in our families here, in our home here, and are willing to reinvest themselves to make it stronger for us all for the future.
Welcome and good evening. My name is Ruby Marin Duran. I'm the past president for RCLFSA, and my day job is I'm the EOPS counselor at Reedley College, so go EOPS. I'm here to extend hearty congratulations on behalf of RCLFSA to all the honorees and their loved ones. Y ahora en español, ¿ok? Un poquito de español. Felicidades de todo corazón de parte de Reedley College, pero más que nada, gracias por su servicio al distrito y su comunidad. It's a distinct pleasure to be present, to witness the honoring of our valued LFSA member, Adelpha Lorenzano. Adelpha served, you may not know this, as our vice president during our founding year, all those 4 years ago. Laying the groundwork for many noteworthy accomplishments. We're so proud of you, Adelpha.
Being able to focus on our youth and being able to be their advocates. We've been in those positions. We advocate for their higher education. I always tell our students, never settle for less. You deserve to have a higher education. I don't care how old you are. And so I get to start just a little bit earlier with high school students. I get to motivate them now. And I get to say, you deserve it. Don't settle for less. Go on, pursue it. If I can do it, you can do it.
She is the light of my life. We've been married 20 years. 3 wonderful boys, Xavier, Isaiah, and Jason. She's everything I can ask for.
I'm very proud of you, Adelpha, as my daughter, as my baby. Whatever you want, go for it. Go get it. That's my advice to you.
She is driven, nonstop, foot on the gas pedal, nonstop, always going, always looking for something new to do.
My name is Maddie Ibarra Mendez. I am the youngest sister of four. There were four sisters and two brothers in my family, and I'm Pilar de la Cruz Reyes' youngest sister.
I grew up as a child in the Valley, and we were a very poor family. There were six of us. I have 6 siblings. My father had never gone to school. My mother went to the 8th grade.
And we worked together out in the fields for many years. Pilar and I are 14 years apart, so when she graduated from high school and went off to college in San Jose, we remained back at the farm and we were working in the field.
So worked in the fields, but always knew from the age of 7 that I wanted to be a registered nurse. I would see the nurses in their white starched uniforms, and I'd get butterflies in my stomach. So that was what I wanted to be. I knew I wanted to be that. And when I got to high school, and I said, my counselor called me in as a sophomore, and he said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to be a nurse. And he looked at me, and he shook his head, and he said, no, you're poor, you're Mexican, you're going to be a secretary.
I said, I don't want to be a secretary, I want to be a nurse. So my junior year, they put me in all the secretarial courses, typing, shorthand. My senior year, they sent me to be the secretary for a Catholic school in Wheatley. I knew then I definitely was not going to be a secretary.
When I graduated, they gave me a full-ride scholarship to a business school, and I gave it back. And my father said, why would you do that? We don't have any money to send you to college. And I said, but Dad, I don't want to be a secretary. I want to be a nurse. And he said to me, well, how are you going to do that? I said, I have no idea. I just know that I want to be a nurse. And so I went to Reedley College for a year. We only had one car, which my dad took to work every day. And so we lived out in the country, and the only way I could get to the college was to ride the high school bus with my brothers and sisters. I'd get off at the high school and then walk across. Well, it didn't take too long for them to realize that I wasn't a high school student anymore, so I got kicked off the bus. But luckily I had a friend who was going to college also, and she lived out by me, so she would give me rides to school, and that's how I got through my first year. I applied to the nursing school in San Jose. It was a diploma school at O'Connor Hospital in San Jose. It was a 3-year program and was accepted.
I remember when she left for college, she had a box that was tied with twine as she left because we couldn't afford a suitcase for her.
When I went away to school, the family car couldn't have made it up Pacheco Pass, so I had to take a Greyhound bus to the school. And we had had a fire that had destroyed everything that we owned other than the clothes on our back the Christmas before that summer when I left. And so we only had one suitcase. So I had one suitcase, and then I had a big cardboard box tied with twine with the rest of my stuff, and a little AM radio tucked under one arm. And so when I walked in, I'm sure the look on the faces of the other girls that were going to that school was like, where did this country hick come from? The look on their faces told me everything. I was the only minority in my whole class, and that was really difficult to look around and hear comments made about minorities and kind of have to swallow that because my mother had told me that if I didn't get through nursing school, if I dropped out, I would not only kind of be a disappointment to the family, but I'd be a disappointment to the whole community of Reedley. And I thought, boy, that's a big, something to wear on your shoulders. That's heavy stuff. And I remember my very first day of clinical when we were going to start checking blood pressures and temperatures. And I was working with my roommate, and we were supposed to take each other's temperature. And I looked at her, I had the thermometer in my hand, and I said to her, which end of the thermometer goes under your tongue? And she looked at me and says, you're kidding, right? I said, no, I'm not kidding. We never had a thermometer in our home. If my mother wanted to know if we had a temperature, she'd take the back of her hand and feel our forehead, or tell us to breathe on her, and then she'd say, yes, you have a temperature, no, you don't. I didn't have a car, and our dorm was about 2 miles from the University of Santa Clara, where we had to take some of our classes. So we had to ride the bus, which sometimes was late, and that would make us late for our classes. Eventually, we found a taxi driver that would pick us up, and there was 7 of us. And we'd each put in 20 cents. That's all we could afford every day. And as soon as that meter hit $1.40 before it hit $1.50, we'd get off. They'd let us off, and we'll walk the rest of the way. And then finally, one of the gals got a car, a big old Buick. I'll never forget that. It was called Bertha. And the 12 of us would pile into this Buick. There'd be some people, one row on the bottom and then another row on top of those folks. And I remember one time we ran out of gas in the middle of a busy intersection, and I'm sure the look on people's faces as we kept piling out of that car, wondering how many people were in that car. But we made it. We figured out a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, as my mother always used to say.
She got sick during her finals, and she was in the hospital, and the Mother Superior said to her, if you don't take this test, you will not pass. So every step from high school to college, she had barriers, and she overcame those barriers, and that's what she demonstrated to me as her younger sister.
And I've been a nurse for 47 years. I'm writing a book, and it's called But I Want to Be a Nurse. And the message that I tell students is never give up on your dream, no matter what they tell you, no matter what they say. When I talk to students all the time, and I encourage them to go on, get an education. My parents were migrant workers. My father never went to school a day in his life. My mother went to the 8th grade. But they knew the value of an education, and they knew that education was the key to getting out of poverty. And so they insisted, they made us work in the fields, pick grapes, pick cotton, pick whatever, in order to teach us the value of an education, and it paid off.
I can remember when we were still out in the fields and she came back and she told us, she goes, I don't work in the fields anymore. She goes, I'll cook for you guys, I'll have everything ready for you when you come in from the fields, but I'm not going out there anymore. So she even led in that way, that we needed to go and pursue an education so we didn't have to work in the fields either. If I could just say, Pilar, you've always been a role model to me, to my sisters, to everyone that you come in contact. Continue on, sister, until we all leave this world and go home with God. But thank you for always leading the way for us. You created the trail, and then you came back and then you paved it to be a road for us. So thank you, Pilar, for everything that you do. I love you. You know how much you mean to me.
She's been through a lot. We've all been through a lot. But through it all, she continues to be our rock. She continues to be the foundation, and she continues to hold us all together as a family. Even when we've lost our father, we lost our stepfather, she continues to be there for us. So
I'm grateful to my husbands who were the winds beneath my wings. I'm grateful to my family, my brothers and sisters who all supported me. My sons who were there and allowed me to do the things that I wanted to do. To my cousins who are more like sisters, to my aunt who is more like my mother. To my friends, longtime friends from high school that are here, my co-workers that are here. I'm very grateful to everybody that's helped me reach this point. And I've never forgotten my roots. But I come from the Valley, I come from a working family, and so I thank you for this award, and I thank you for the opportunity to serve my community and to give back. Thank you very much. I'm very honored.
He was just the heart of Fresno City College.
Tony, as we know, was such a serious guy most of the time. So I always found it my duty to try to make him laugh. And when he became interim president, as soon as he'd walk in the front door, I'd always stop and go, "A presidente!" and Tony, he'd give me that look.
Early in the morning I'd see him, or in the evening, and he'd go get a cup of coffee and he'd walk around the campus. Always dressed perfectly, impeccably.
Walking on campus with him was an experience, as both faculty and staff would warmly greet him, sharing family updates, letting him know, what their kids were doing.
He and I, we would go to conferences and we would go buy shoes. Tony loved to buy shoes. He had the coolest shoes.
He was born and raised in Mendota. He was the youngest of 8 children. His parents, Domingo and Maria, they owned a restaurant in that community. And he would tell us for summers, many summers, he and his siblings would pick fruit and vegetables. And I know that was probably another motivating factor for him to get his education.
Right. Last year, he received the Heritage Award from Assemblyman Henry Perea. And I didn't tell him I was going to nominate him because I knew he would say no. So I went ahead and did it on my own, filled out the paperwork, sent it in, and of course he received the award. So then I had to go and tell him he had received the award. And I went up and I called and said, I need to talk to you. He goes, what's up? And we thought it was going to be bad news. So I walked in and I said, Tony, I nominated you for an award, the Heritage Award, and he's like, and you guys remember that look, and how his lips would never move. And so I said, and you got it. And so he looked at me, and then just the slightest little smile cracked from his lips. And he was like, okay.
He was also extremely knowledgeable about the laws and the regulations regarding higher education, especially community colleges. Title V in the state of California and the accreditation requirements. He was my go-to person. And he was the go-to person for many vice presidents. He was very well known and extremely articulate and knowledgeable about those things. But Tony also loved the arts and was extremely supportive of the arts. He was supportive of all the programs at Fresno City, but especially music and the fine arts. He would go to the plays, he'd go to the art shows. He provided a music scholarship. And he would go to the basketball games and football games, and he provided support for those areas as well. He is on the Wall of Fame for our football program. Tony Cantu was extremely generous with his family and with the college and with the community. He supported all of our activities. We have a huge institution with 24,000 students, 20 athletic teams, all types of arts programs, and he supported each and every one of them in a different way. His family, I know that he educated some of his nieces and nephews, and he took care of other family members. And of course, he was the caregiver for his mother for many years. Tony had, even though he was extremely knowledgeable, he had a gentleness about him. And you could tell that he loved his little nieces and nephews, grandnieces and nephews. And he would play with them, and he would come on campus, and when there was a student in trouble, Tony would listen. He was a great listener, but he had just this gentleness about him. But when he needed to be stern, he was. And I really enjoyed working with him, and I really miss him.
Tony was a dearest friend, and when I told him that I'd be leaving, he said, "Don't go. We really need you here." And I said, "Tony, we'll stay close," and we did. And he was such a good friend. And on behalf of Tony and his family, I'm honored to accept this. Thank you.